The Maroons of Jamaica are defined as runaway slaves who defeated the British. However, many of the Maroons were actually born free in the mountains. In the case of Prince CUFFEE of the Maroons, he was never a slave, but often voluntarily put himself in captivity in order to liberate the enslaved, as well as whatever possessions he desired from the white man, or Bakra, as the Maroons called him. This is the story of one of the most adventurous and daring Maroon leaders, Prince CUFFEE of the Maroons. But first, smash that like button, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and hit the bell icon to get notified when the next video drops. And don't forget to share the video and comment. Let's get into it. Prince CUFFEE of the Maroons is said to be one of the 7 brothers of Queen Nani. He is believed to be the 4th son of King Nakwan after Johnny, and he was most likely born somewhere around the 1670s to the 1680s in the Great Negro Town in the Blue Mountains of Jamaica. CUFFEE is a traditional Akan day name for one who was born on a Friday. The name CUFFEE is said to have the characteristics of an adventurer and traveler, and indeed CUFFEE would go to great lengths for his adventures. CUFFEE was distinguished for wearing a silver lace hat with a small sword by his side, which no one dared wear the like. CUFFEE was stationed in what is now Moortown, and during his time there, he would receive many awards for his bravery and military accomplishments. He was said to be a specialist with an extraordinary talent for capturing just about anything he desired from the Bakra, which is white man in Maroon terminology. And this was a tremendous ace up the Maroon sleeves. When the governor of Jamaica had to make an important trip regarding the Maroons, CUFFEE demonstrated his skills by stealing his horse just minutes before he was scheduled to leave. This was the kind of bravery and skill that CUFFEE possessed that made him so distinguished. Capturing things like clothing, gold, weaponry, and European goods were commonplace for the Maroons during raids. But when you wanted something special, you called on CUFFEE. Rum and the Maroons. In Maroon culture, rum and marijuana is used daily. Rum has a great significance in that physically, it was said to lubricate the brain, which would become dry from the stress of war. Or at least that's what Cudjoe said. Not sure how that works, but spiritually, rum is used in magic and libation. So rum was very important to the Maroons. Now, in 1731, the British declared that sailors on foreign stations would be given a daily ration of rum in addition to their wages. So when this news came across CUFFEE's ears, he set his sights on the plains. CUFFEE would pretend to be a slave to rob the white man of his barrel of rum. In broad daylight, CUFFEE rolled a large barrel of rum from a storehouse. He was caught by an overseer and kept on rolling, saying, "Masa Bakra Adam if you bring it down in Manchan." The overseer bought his story and moved on. Before long, CUFFEE rolled his prize into the mountains. By the time night fell, he would arrive back in the Maroon village with a full barrel of rum. Sword. For this amazing feat, Cudjoe awarded CUFFEE with a sword. He received the sword as a peace offering from a war prisoner. The sword belonged to none other than the infamous Captain Morgan. Morgan had been a governor of Jamaica, and when he passed away, one of his swords ended up in the position of a captain who was sent out against the Maroons. Now CUFFEE had it. According to the confessions of a captured Maroon named Cyrus, CUFFEE was a spy in Port Antonio, and he assisted the Maroons in smuggling gunpowder from Jacob, the Kingston Jew. Dressed as a slave, he was escorted by two white boys, Charles and John Dunbar, who forged passes in Colonel Needham's name to buy the gunpowder. At the height of the Maroon War, defectors informed the British that the Maroons had over 200 horns full of gunpowder and went into battle with multiple guns. John CUFFEE Tone. CUFFEE would be stationed in the East and fight in many of the important battles during the Maroon War. He fought in the East from the Battle of the Plains in 1727 to the Battle of the Troops from Gibraltar in 1735. After which, he took 1/3 of the Maroons with him to John CUFFEE Tone. John CUFFEE Tone was a settlement in the west in Cockpit Country, not far from Accompong. History books would record this as Ken CUFFEE or Champ CUFFEE Tone, but it is more likely that it is a misnomer of John CUFFEE. I believe this settlement was created when Cudjoe, Accompong, and Johnny migrated west for the first time, as the settlement was already there when they migrated in 1735. On the route to John CUFFEE Tone, the British would become aware of their migration, thanks to a Maroon trader named Cupid who gave them information about the journey. They would send Captain Pope to intercept them, and a battle ensued on the route. However, CUFFEE was able to successfully broke up in Raz and put them to retreat. On their way to the west, they stopped in Clarendon, central Jamaica, to rob some of the wealthiest plantations. Upon arriving in the west, they would descend on the plantations of St. Elizabeth and liberate their slaves. CUFFEE would remain in the west and fight in the Battle of Mock Village in 1736, the Three-Prong Attack in 1738, and the Battle of Peace Cave that same year, which would lead to the treaty and the end of the Maroon War. And it is on this treaty that CUFFEE's name is recorded for posterity. He is named as the 4th Colonel or Chief of the Maroons after Johnny. It is not certain what happened to CUFFEE after the war, but we know that his bravery and daring ways were instrumental in the Maroon War. He was born free. He put himself in captivity when many were seeking freedom, ultimately to give many their freedom, as well as liberate all sorts of goods from the hands of the white man. So let us not forget the bravery of Prince CUFFEE of the Maroons. Special thanks to my sources. In research for this topic, I resorted to my Maroon family oral history, colonial records, as well as the following books: The Maroon Story by former Chief Bev Carey, and Cudjoe of the Maroons by Accompong Maroon Milton McFarlane, both of whom Maroon authors. I also used True Born Maroons by Smithsonian archaeologist Kenneth Bilby, which features many stories and quotes by elder Maroons over a period of 20 years. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and share the video. It really helps the algorithm so that other people can find it on the platform. Remember to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified when the next video drops. And if you like this video and want to support this content, you can make a donation by hitting the Super Thanks button or Cash App $Focusball and request what video you'd like to see next. Thank you so much for tuning in. Till next time. God bless you. Done know.